When it comes to gut health, a healthy gut is one that has got a very high diversity. So this is where you've got enough of the different microbes and they are in the ratio that they are meant to be. So I always want to think about the rainforest. If you can think about that biodiversity, this is what's also important for your gut. So what do we do for us to achieve this biodiversity? We need also to have a biodiversity in the foods that we eat, because different microbes prefer different foods. Although the majority of the microbes prefer carbohydrates, it's also important to know that you've got bacteria that prefer proteins, that prefer fats. So when you eat, think of you not just eating for yourself, you are actually eating for these microbes. So I'll give you an example. So if you look at this lunch that I had here, okay, you can see that there's like bread there and there's some food, but think about it. Compare with somebody who had breakfast or lunch and all what they had is a piece of toast with Marmite on, or a piece of toast with peanut butter. Now if you look at this plate of food here, if you look at that bread that you're seeing, already in that bread there's like 7 different seeds. Okay, like there is pumpkin seeds, there's chia seeds, there's hemp seeds, and there is gluten-free oats, and there's olive oil, there's also vinegar, apple cider vinegar. So just that slice of bread has got like 7 foods. And if you look what's in the small plate, there's avocado, there's goat cheese, there is a pesto which is homemade, which has got nuts and also olive oil, and below there is a melasani which doesn't have gluten, which doesn't have dairy, and it's got tomatoes, and it's got salt, and it's got lots of herbs. So can you just see just this one plate of food which looks very small, how much diversity is there? So why do we need diversity in the microbiome? Because different bugs have got different jobs. So when we feed these microbes, they make stuff for us. Some make vitamin K2, some make B vitamins, some make short chain fatty acids, and you also got those that make neurotransmitters. For example, serotonin, about 90% of serotonin is produced by certain microbes in the gut. Okay, and this is where we get these probiotics that are called psychobiotics, because they actually have got an impact on the central nervous system. So always think of, you can eat for enjoyment. They don't have to be exclusive. It's not that if you're eating for the microbes, you're gonna eat food that's not nice, that's not tasty. You can do both in one sitting. And how else can you improve diversity other than diversifying your diet? There are certain things that you can do. You can take what's called spore probiotics that will improve your biodiversity. Another thing that, very paradoxically increases biodiversity is fasting. And you might ask yourself, how does this work? When you fast, right, you are going to make sure that you improve diversity, because you've got 3 different layers of microbes. There is a layer that feeds on food, let's say on carbohydrates. But what happens is that when you're not eating, after this first layer of microbes make what's called postbiotics, which will be things like short chain fatty acids, the second layer of microbes is going to use those postbiotics to make something that the third layer of microbes is going to use. So if you're eating continuously, you basically sort of just feeding only the first layer of microbes. So to increase diversity, increase your diet, the amount of foods that you eat differently, and it's also important for you to fast. And another very important part is your sleep, because these microbes, they also, have got almost like a circadian rhythm. So most of these changes that happen in the microbiome that we need happens during a good sleep. So think about food diversity, think about fasting, think about good sleep to improve the biodiversity of the microbiome. And when you've got that, you've got health in every areas of of your body. If you found this information interesting and helpful, please like this video, subscribe so that you don't miss any gut-wise tips.